Okay, quadratics. So on your formula sheet that you're going to get for your exam, okay, you guys all have that sheet from the beginning of the year. That's the same one that you'll get on your exam. You will see this. Okay, that's on your formula sheet. All right, so now what does that mean? So the vertex is the HK. In this formula, when I see the H and the K, do you notice how they have subtraction signs? So when formulas have subtraction signs, you have to do the opposite thing. So my vertex is +1, because I have to do the opposite because it's a minus, and a minus here, so -7. Okay, so there's my coordinate for my vertex. Okay, the slope is the multiplier. So in this case, my slope is 2. So then my parabola is going to open upward because that's a positive value. Okay, the axis of symmetry is, if I could slice it right down the middle, what would that cut line look like? So I'm going up and down. So I need an equation. How do you make an equation of a line that goes straight up and down? X equals, and which X value is it going to go right through? Here, 1. Okay, the domain. How far left and right does this parabola go? -infinity to +infinity. I'm hoping that's like your free question on your exam. And the range. So if I think about the bottom of this, there's a certain height at the bottom. Where do I get that height? -7. And that hits exactly at -7, so that's a square, to the highest height, and then it's going up. So then, infinity. Okay, I need to remind you on your exam, X equals on that axis of symmetry. Don't worry, there's going to be at least 6 of you that will forget that. Never fails. As much as I remind people, always get lots that forget. Okay, transformations. So what does the 2 do to this? So I need to remember those things. So you have your regular thing. You can do, what's that? Narrows it. Yeah. You can narrow or widen. You can flip. You can move it left, right, up, down. Right? Those are things you can do. So the 2 is a narrow. So it gets a little bit skinnier, right? Like that. And then the 1 made it move. Well, obviously, where's this coordinate? Right 1 and down 7. What's the definition of a y-intercept? Where x is 0. So that's what I did. Now I have to do BEDMAS, solve. So y plus 7 equals 2 times, okay, well 0 subtract 1 is -1, squared is +1. So the y-intercept is at -5. Okay, on a parabola, we've talked over and over about the pattern it always goes with. So 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9, all that, right? Over, up, 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9. Okay, this is a typical pattern, but we got to change this. What makes it change? Slope is 2, which is a timesor. So what am I going to times? I'm timesing the heights. So that's a 2, that's an 8, that's an 18. Okay, so that's your finish. You're going to go over 1, up 2. You're going to head over 2, up 8. So on your exam, I ask you, you have to graph 5 points. So there you go. That's 5 points, right? Okay, that's what I'm going to ask of you. Okay, this is so frustrating in grading exams. And if I have a y-intercept algebra, -5, what should my y-intercept also be on my graph? -5. Okay, I don't know how many exams I've graded. They have some kind of algebra number and some kind of number on their graph that aren't the same. Something went wrong, okay? That's a red flag. So make sure they graphically and algebraically match. Okay, it's good. So this is like the first page of your exam, and it's almost worth 20 points, something like that, because you're doing lots of stuff. Okay, this is general form. So now this is the format of the question. Okay, what do we do to get vertex in this form? And everybody remember that little thing. -b over, you're right at the start of that. So close. 2a. -b over 2a. That's on your formula sheet. Okay, so opposite b, so opposite of this would be +6 over 2 times -1, which ends up being -3. So our vertex is -3, comma, what do you do? Plugins. So y equals the negative of -3 squared minus 6 times -3, subtract 3. Okay, I would say this is tricky for people because you have to times by negative after squaring, because BEDMAS says you got to do -3 squared. So what's -3 squared? 9. 9 times -1 is -9. Is that 6? Okay, so -3, 6. Is your vertex. Okay, what is the slope number? What's the multiplier? So again, I look for a values. It's the same as the other one, a value, which is -1. Oops, I wrote that in the wrong spot. -1, which means this parabola will be opening flipped down like that, negative slope. axis of symmetry, again, if you could cut it through the middle, do not forget. No one's going to forget that, right? X equals. And that's what makes the line, because when you graph lines, they need something equals. And the x value we are going to go right through is -3. The domain, same, -∞ to infinity. The range, you have to write it in the order low to high. So the lowest is -∞. To the top height of, and then we grab it from there. Okay, the y-intercept, again, what is it? It's when the x is going to be 0, and your math should be that quick. If there was no x, what would you be? -3. Right? Basically all that. Okay, let's talk about the pattern of this thing. So the movement, again, the basic, always 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9. Then we talked about a slope of -1. So it's going to negate all those numbers. Okay, so it's going to go 1, 1, 2, 4. Okay, so I also just put my y-intercept on there just to see if it made sense, and it looks great. It's gonna go through that. Everybody did very well on this part on your test, that when you're doing these patterns, remember you're always resetting to the vertex. So the 1, 1 is from the vertex. The 2, 4 is from the vertex. You always reset.